Ariela from BLLA and StayBoutique. Today, I'm so excited to be here with our guest star, John Terzian of h.wood Group. We are so excited to bring back the unfamiliar shift. Today will be all about restaurants, which is a hot topic in our industry right now, but we're going to be focused on innovation. This is a production by BLLA and StayBoutique. As many of you know, we are the family of organizations leading the global boutique hospitality community. So a little quick overview as to who we are. We are the Boutique Lifestyle Leaders Association. Yes, from those of you that know us back in the day, we used to be Lodging Association, but we've changed it a little bit, but still kept BLLA. We're the official association for the world's boutique lifestyle leaders. We're the original hub supporting boutique and independent properties since 2009. We are the community that values leadership, advocacy, and education for the global hospitality space. What's our sister brand? StayBoutique, everyone knows that's my baby. StayBoutique, we are content curators. We live the best in boutique with our guides, trends, and happenings. We're collaboration connectors. We provide the community opportunities to be discovered, which is a huge part. And also, we're connoisseurs of cool. We create a hub for the daring pioneers and businesses in the boutique community. Quick overview how you can support us, follow us, give us social love. We'll give you social love back, attend the summit, and also, if you can, become a member. We have a lot of great initiatives, and becoming a member really helps us bring those to life. So with that, I'm super excited, like I told you guys, to be here with John. John spoke at our 2017 leadership conference, and it was an amazing session. So 3 years later, lots have changed. So let's say hello. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Welcome back. How's LA life?
LA is a wild ride. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, we don't have much time. I want to kind of get started. Okay, why h.wood Group? Why did you start it? What is your mission? Tell us all about that.
You know, I started h.wood Group because I really couldn't see myself ever being working for someone. I was entrepreneurial. I was an artist. I got into college on art, so I kind of viewed myself as a failed artist. I was never gonna go on and do that. And so I was always great with people, and it was a way for me to, you know, create spaces. You know, I fell in love with the hotel world, to be honest. And in my mind at a young age, you know, it was like, how do you go own a hotel? You start with $1 billion, or you attract, you know, people to you. And so fell into the idea of creating a nightclub to attract attention to me, because didn't start with $1 billion. And, you know, this is 2004 or 5. And my idea at the time was nightclub world was a really seedy thing. And it was just a bunch of people throwing places together. And so I wanted to bring an elevated experience in real operations and a whole, you know, artistic element to elevate the whole experience going on in LA. And I started with that, and that was kind of my goal. And you know, lost a lot along the way. Our first few places were colossal failures, which was not good, but you learn a lot from those. And if you don't, you probably aren't going to survive. But we learned a lot, really built a whole operations team around it. And my idea has never wavered. My idea then is still today is I build, you know, I kind of find what I think is a niche in the marketplace for hospitality. And specifically revolving around what I see my friends and friends of friends and peers kind of all looking for and needing in food or aesthetics or whatever it might be. And we'll create a concept around that and go from there. And so now we have restaurants, nightclubs, bars, lounges, hotel deals. And, you know, that's kind of my to this day, our whole h.wood's whole goal is to have the elevated experience and give more than what the guest expects. Always.
I love that. So when you had this idea back in 2005, how did you get it started? Like, actually, because I know a lot of people in the audience, they really want to be where you are, and I know a lot of them look up to you. So back in 2005, how did you get it going?
Good. It's a good question. And I think I naturally have always been and am persistent. And, I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the room. I don't think I have the most money in the room. My whole thing was always, you're never going to be able to outwork me. And by
Mm,
that, I mean that I'm going to work harder, work smarter than anyone else. And I think if you have that mentality and you're genuine about it, you're going to do it. And so for me, I had an idea, and I had this really, it took some time, but I was fortunate enough to uh, convince friends and family. And I think, I mean, at this point, looking back on it, it was like a public offering. I think I had like 100 investors, because it was like
wow.
anyone I could, anyone that would be interested, I would take on. And the idea I had was this super artistic feeling restaurant, bar, and nightclub all in one. It was in deep Hollywood, but it was I think ahead of its time. Like I shipped it. I found like windows from Warhol's factory and shipped them in. Like I was,
Oh,
I took
that's
an
so
old
cool. Oh
I
my
took an
gosh.
old Burger King and just went crazy on design and look, and it was, honestly just too much, and I learned a lot. You had to say a poem to get into the door. Like it was a whole experience, right?
I love it.
Uh and so, but back to your question was, anyone can do it, and no one. I'm fortunate there were a lot of people along the way, and I'll always be good to them, because there only few people helped me. But I always say, you're gonna get 1,000 naysayers. All you need is one yaysayer, and even if that's yourself, go for it. But usually it'll take one. I didn't have any mentor, which was unfortunate. I didn't have anyone like that. So to this day, honestly, anyone that can reach me, I take a meeting. I literally, if they figured out the way to contact me, I've never turned down someone from meeting with me, and here a young, someone trying to be in this business. And I mean, to this day, it's hundreds of people that I would help. And if they get that meeting and they have that persistence, they have a shot at making it. And I
Yeah.
think they should all go for it.
Absolutely. I agree with you with mentorship. I have my mom and I couldn't imagine doing it without her, but I love that you're giving back, and that's really amazing to hear. I want to kind of
Yeah.
get into where you are, how you work with hotels. What hotels do you work with? What's the process like? How did you even find those partnerships?
Well, it all goes back to relationships. Everything from the smallest to the biggest corporations. We work with some of the biggest corporations. I get asked this. I've worked with McDonald's for the last 8 years, and Coca-Cola, and all these brands. And I get asked that question, and it comes down to a relationship. If you build a relationship with
Mhm.
the marketing person or whoever it might be, that's what it is. And so the same thing with hotels is, at the end of the day, what I pride HWood in, what we pride ourselves in, is we create moments, we create experiences through aesthetics, through ambiance, through staff, through service, through uh, an artistic approach to the logo, to the, like, every single thing. And if you think about it, that's exactly the kind of X factor that hotels need. They
Yeah.
want that extra layer in addition to their rooms, because at the end of the day, all we're doing is drawing more and more people to the hotel. And I view these places as hubs, right? And so over the years, when the more and more relationships you get, the more you can see the right people. And we've had some that have not worked out, but we work with, we have a deal with Wynn in Las Vegas, have a great deal with Found Hotels, which is, one of my close friends started the brand and has been, one of the only guys that has helped me along the whole way in my career. And so, I would do anything for them. They're a limited service, hotel chain that we do the marketing and design, decor, and some F&B concepts in them. We have the thing with One Hotels. We have a rooftop both in LA and Brooklyn called Harriet's, and we're doing more with them. And so each experience is different. Some are management deals. Actually, the ones that we have are all management deals. Some people
Okay.
have lease deals in hotels, but when you're a management deal, you have to be really collaborative, and you have to really, because you're really working. I view it as I'm working for for and with them. And I think that's the way you have to look at it when you're a restaurant operator with a hotel owner. Is my job is to make that hotel look better, look good.
Yes, exactly.
That's my goal.
What advice would you give to hotels about, collaborating with people like yourself?
Oh, I got a lot of advice.
Okay, give it to us. We want to hear it.
So the number one thing that I try to do in my own thing is I know enough to know that I don't know everything. There's experts in fields for a reason. And so what I would advise hotel owner and operators is to trust in the experts they pick in all aspects, but especially with the restaurant world, because it is quite different to create a, for lack of a better word, cool, buzzworthy restaurant, lounge, bar, hotel lobby, whatever it is that you're going for in that hotel. You gotta trust that you've gone with whoever that right operator owner is. If you don't trust that person, don't go with them or micromanage them. But if you do, let them do their thing. Have them work with you, but let them really guide you on what works. Because I think they not in a malicious way, get caught up in trying to micromanage, because a hotel is a huge asset, large investment, lot of mistake. I get it. So if you have think about it, you have a $1 billion hotel, right? And you are having to listen to the tiny restaurant operator owner that is, taking up 2,000 square feet in your hotel. That's hard for them to swallow. But if you think about it, you actually should say, look, let this person do their thing to a degree, and it'll only make our hotel better.
Yeah.
So that is
trust.
Yeah, that's the number one thing. I think it's trust. I think it's having a really strong liaison between the hotel itself, the hotel operations, and whoever the operator is. So, there's a hotel owner, there's usually a management group. You need a direct person that is like on both sides and, all for it on both sides. And I think it's really important to be collaborative and to be together on it.
Yep. I'm thinking of Harriet's at the one hotel in West Hollywood, which I've been to, and it totally, honestly, it doesn't really feel as much one hotel other than it's pretty chill, but it really has the HWood group touch to it. And I think that's a huge part of its success, especially being in Los Angeles too, because people kind of, I think, your places, they don't all look the same, but you kind of have this essence that people know that it was created by you guys. Talk to us about that. You have Blind Dragon, you have The Nice Guy, Delilah, Harriet. Yeah. How do you keep the essence of HWood Group in all of them, even though they're so different?
I think there isn't one answer to that. The general rule is details. So I'm it's really specific to me. So you brought up Harriet's, and they're amazing to work with. And that was a big challenge. And luckily I have a good liaison, but they really wanted it to be, it took me a lot of convincing and a lot of presentations and a lot of explaining why we needed to have a certain look and feel and touch that isn't matchy to every other hotel that they have. And I appreciated them really letting us go with that, because Harriet's has been a wild success, in a lot of, and more so than anyone imagined. It was a 2,500 square foot blank space. Might as well have been a banquet room with a great view. And we took it and created a good little oasis up there. And that's actually a really good example of having to have the trust of letting us do our thing. And so back to your question on the kind of connecting thing, is it really comes down to each thing, to the point where, I'm at the point where, I make sure even our door hinges are certain look and detail, right? So I don't know how many people notice that, but my goal is, even if that one person notices that we have a unique vintage door hinge, I've won. That's an HWood touch, or comes down to honestly just trusting that I'm not going to have everyone notice it, not going to please everyone. But my goal is, if certain amount of people or even one notices and likes it, then that's a leg up than someone else.
No, it's very true. And having you, listening to you with this, it reminds me so much of boutique hotels, as well as like you put in so much thought and detail. And I think it really it's what separates boutique hotels from other bigger brands, and also truly the independent ones as well, as because they really care about the freaking door hinge. Like it's a huge
Right,
part of the
right.
experience. And I 100% agree with you. And it's really why I'm excited to have you on here as well, is that people can really relate to what you're talking
Yep.
about as well. Like I feel like we're in the same industry, technically hospitality, but it's so different. But there is so much overlap as well. So it's great to talk about that. I want to. It's kind of an interesting question we sometimes get with restaurants, and especially nightclubs. I think more than restaurants. How do you know? Let's say when a nightclub needs to reinvent itself, and how do you do that?
Well, the number one thing I do that is kind of a little bit of a secret is
Mm-hmm.
I'm reinventing it like ongoing.
Mm,
Every month, 2 month, we tweak things, we tweak look,
I
we
see.
change tables, we change. So like there's a whole subconscious thing, and honestly, whether it works or not, I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
I do know, we've had, look, Bootsy Bellows has been in LA, it's been open 8 years. That's like a lifetime in
I
nightclub world,
know.
uh
Yeah.
and the way we've done it is, like I said, we reinvent ourselves. I really try to stay ahead, honestly, every month, down to, what we're doing with events, what we're doing with decor, what we're doing with performer, anything, any little edge, basically. And then as far as what you're saying, when you have to actually remodel, I think, um,
Mm-hmm.
it's experience. You just know.
Yeah.
You just have that sense of feel. Nightclubs are like any other aspect in hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get so much, you're getting thousands of people coming through there 2-3 nights a week, right? And you're only going to really last a couple years before people get tired of it, right? So the key is to always go out before they get tired of it. I always say it's like, you don't want to overstay your welcome. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
judge, because what happens is, if you let it go too long, if you notice that you've worn out your welcome with the crowd, and you let it go for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you're never getting them back. You got to go out on top. And so all we do is we close it, and we're the type of group, and I'm pretty insane on detail, as you can tell, is where we really do a actual remodel and redesign. And usually you shut down for, we try to make it 6 or 7 months and redesign
Mm-hmm.
the entire thing,
I
and
love that. Yeah.
it's creating a new whole. I love it because I get to create a whole new moment.
Oh, create a whole new moment. That's interesting. I mean, and also because you can relate it back to the
Yep.
hotel as well, especially because a boutique hotel is all about, being with the latest trends, this and that. But it's like a
Right.
nightclub, you only got 2 to 3 years to do that before it's not, the latest, greatest trend, and you have to move on. So what you're saying, before they kind of feel like, ugh, about it, you reinvent it, remodel it before they get to that point.
Yep. That's what you got to do.
I love it. That's very, so I feel like that's like for all
Yeah.
assets, even to a coffee shop, to a fitness studio. I think that can
Yeah.
be everything boutique. I want to get to, because we are almost halfway through the session here. Let's talk about, can you talk to us about more of your like casual dining outlets that you've recently launched?
Yeah. So like the fast casual or the delivery?
The fast casual. Let's start with that.
Yeah, so we just noticed as we expanded, and we just, as I said earlier on, when I find a niche, I've just noticed with the time is there was a way to take our skill set and the love and attention to detail and apply that to fast casual, more comfortable food. And so we started that with Slab, which would probably be the preeminent one. And that was built, around a friend, loose at the time. We knew this guy that was had lines around the block at his house selling brisket, and we went and tried it, and it was mind-blowing, and convinced him that we would build a whole concept around that food, which is essentially barbecue food.
Mm-hmm.
And we built just this concept and look and feel around it, and and we're going to be doing more of those because we've found that people really like that option. They like the fast casual or comfort food in some regards. We're going to try to do a similar thing with some healthy concepts, basically, but same fast casual, same attention to detail with the menu and the logo and the all the packaging. To me, all of that stuff really, really matters. And any little thing helps.
Yes, and that's how you kind of like separate yourself too, which I think that's what's trending right now are these more fast casual places, and especially on the healthy side,
Right.
like LA, New York, Miami. I feel like those are coming up like crazy.
Right.
So basically what you're saying is like to make it feel more upscale in a way, even though it's very casual, is like you got to still pay attention to those details. The packaging, you've put a lot of thought into it. The experience when someone walks through the door, like it's just something very unique and different, right?
Yeah, so it's more about, it's a obviously lower price point, it's comfort, it's casual, you can go at any time, but I think people like that feeling that there's extra thought put in, even our own so we have a handful of delivery concepts, and I mean we spent 4 weeks just on one box alone for how, we have a Mediterranean concept called Ella Ella. And I might be biased, but I think we have the best packaging out there, and stuff like that matters. All right, there you go.
I'll be the judge of that. No, I'm joking. I think that it's great. So that kind of gets me, I know we don't really like to talk about COVID here. It's like, we're not allowed to use it on this show, but I just want to talk about the delivery aspect because I don't know, it's like in all of our lives, but this is about innovation. But to keep talking about innovation, when March happened, like what was the pivot like, and how were you able to like keep afloat and keep innovating even amid this crazy crisis?
March was a nightmare, and for anyone in our industry, they get that. And I allowed myself to be upset and depressed for like 2 days.
Okay.
I am probably the most optimistic person you'll ever meet. And for 2 days, I was very down and scared because no one knew what was going on. I'm pretty in tune. I have a good amount of contacts with the county and the city, and where I'm on these task force and all this stuff, and no one knew anything. And so it was very scary. However, I always look at it as there's a silver lining and there's a reason for everything. And I try to pride myself on being an entrepreneur first. I view myself as an entrepreneur versus in restaurants or hospitality. I think it's an important aspect for people to know, whether they're in hotels or restaurants or whatever. I think my advice would be to always have an entrepreneur mindset first, because as this black swan, as they call it, just showed us, you just have no idea what's going to be thrown at you. So, we made some swift and harsh moves really fast about really going lean on our operations. We did some, had to furlough people and staff, which was the hardest thing. People have been with me for 10 years, and you have to do really swift moves. And so we immediately moved to focusing on our fast casual stuff. So we had Slab that went strong. So we really did that. And then we created 7 new delivery brands out of ghost kitchens and current kitchens we already have. And
how long did it take you to do that, to implement that?
Well, we're fortunate enough to have amazing team, amazing head chef, amazing head of operations, all these guys, and between us and between them and the marketing side and that we all do, it took about 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks. So we focused on our current operations for delivery, so Nice Guy and Delilah and Slab, as we created these new ones, and really pivoted pretty fast to doing that. And to this day, we're coming up with new ones, new ways to market it. Everyone was doing the same type of launch. And so, we had one concept called Lila's that we launched with like an old school drive-through, and all it was to get extra attention. It's a delivery brand, but
you have to market. Marketing is so big right now, right?
I mean, that's all you have. all you can really do is figure out how to market and get that extra edge. It's
Mhm.
very saturated,
Yeah,
and so, that's really what what we've been focusing on.
I see.
And yep.
Yeah, I think it's like that's what we kept telling people too is when all this happened, it seemed like the first thing to go with hotels were the marketing departments, and I was like, wait, no, I think that's what you
Right.
need. Those are the last people. You need them the most. But I think it's also when you were talking about being an entrepreneur and where boutique is a little bit different, is that you can be flexible too, right? Because it's not just you that has the entrepreneurial spirit; it's a lot of people on your team, right? That
Yeah.
have that drive to keep going and being like, okay, we're in this crisis. No one knows what to do, but like, let's temporarily reinvent ourselves, right? That's what you guys were doing.
Yep. And I think you have to, especially if you're the owner or leader, you gotta remember there's a lot of people looking at you, and you
Yeah.
want them to have that same entrepreneurial, positive
Mm-hmm.
mindset. And it really only matters during, I mean, I shouldn't say only matters, but the key time is when it's crisis type situations, because that's when you really have to pivot and adapt.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think, what we've seen in our industry is that true colors have come out too. And, you're at your most desperate, it's like where your true self comes out. And we've seen people exit the industry, and that's fine. But now we're seeing, new people enter it as well.
Right.
So it's an interesting time for sure. I want to kind of get into, found hotels because I found out about that a while ago and loved your involvement in it. Can you talk to us a bit about the hotel brand?
Yeah, the hotel brand was started by a couple of friends of mine in their company, and the idea was to originally, it still is, was to really tap into the millennial market,
Okay.
doing like giving like limited service hotels with an elevated experience. So where the one doing it originally was Ace Hotel. I would
Yeah.
say they would be the first.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of shared hallway, there's shared bathrooms and stuff, but the idea is you give a great design and look and feel and some added, cool bar and really a whole experience around that, but for low price point. So it's
Mm-hmm.
easy for, you're traveling or you're young, you're on a super tight budget. And so, and they're in great areas and cities. And so I've been really heavily involved as far as creation of the brand and marketing and all the F&B. And they, it's a good example. They have an incredible, team, great liaisons
Mm-hmm.
to work with. So though
Amazing.
that's an example of good hotel experience where they're collaborative and they trust, a lot of what I'm saying, or I hope they do.
That's just what they're telling you, but you
Yes,
don't know. No,
very
it's
true.
true.
Very true.
When you spoke back in 2017, I think one of our biggest themes there was collaboration, which a lot of hotels have been. I think they've kind of perfected how they do it because at first,
Right.
I think that trust they didn't really have, and now they've learned how to do that. And I personally think that with everything that's happening, it's going to be even bigger because you guys, how I view it is that you guys have two different audiences, right, or markets, and you're working together. Now you broaden your market and you can enhance each other's experiences. So I think with hotels, we're just
Yeah.
going to see that more and more. What do you think is like the future of boutique hotels in this unfamiliar shift, aka post-COVID?
Well, my thing is, I socializing, eating, drinking, all the above, has been as old as time. I
Yeah,
don't think that's ever going anywhere. I don't think the digital era is replacing that.
agreed.
It'll come back, and it'll come back probably stronger than ever. And I think that when you ask where the future of hotels is, I think all it is just keep getting that elevated experience, and that doesn't mean elevated price point or elevate to be too fancy. All it means is just extra touch and details, whatever it might be. So take Found, for example. I learn from them just as much as they learn from me, all the different, all the new aspects of like what it's like, what people are looking for in limited service hotels or fast, when they want to be in and out fast, the
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that I think all it is the guests will end up winning out because the hotel owner and the operator is going to have to keep upping their game. They're just going to have to keep, reinventing themselves with the overall experience and feel and what they're offering in a lot of ways. I think the Four Seasons owner was credited with creating the mini bar back in the day. I believe that's true because I'm pretty good on all those guys, but so let's go with it. But he created the mini bar with the mini bottles and all that stuff that we take kind of for granted now. But at the time, it was extremely unique, and all the other hotel owners were like, "Why is everyone going to this?" It's like, well, they're giving away these free, they've got these little mini bars, and they're giving. At the time, I think he was doing it free as an amenity. I'm not saying do that, but I'm just saying that was just an extra. That was an extra hook. That was an extra thing that the guest experienced and liked. And I think that's what we're all trying to do. And if you don't, you're going to fall behind.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think in this post-COVID world, definitely smaller is the future as well. And with small comes more attention to detail, which makes boutique different from the giant hotel chains. And, we're not anti-big brand. If it works for you, it works for you. But I think the difference between an owner with a big chain is that it is 99% about the profit. For a boutique chain, yes, you want to be profitable. Obviously, we're here to make money, but there's like this meaning and this purpose behind it that I think the guests can feel. Like they're getting smarter, transparency, everything about your company is on the internet. We're starting to see studies about like consumers will look into your company before going to like they want to know who's the owner, who do they support, what charities are they involved in. People actually care. It's crazy. It's not just about the hotel, but I agree to stay competitive in a world with travel. You have to be different and market yourself. You cannot get rid of the marketing team, and you got to go to digital advertising.
Right. Keep the marketing team.
Doing with advertising.
I'm sorry, say that again.
What have you been doing with digital advertising since March?
I think we just during this time was the first time we started using some digital advertising. That's like a whole new area for us as well, and we're embracing it. I mean, for us, it's a lot more of social media and the word of mouth, if you will, way of marketing that we do. But I think there's a need. I think there's definitely a place for digital advertising.
Yeah, agreed. I absolutely agree. Also, so I went onto your website, and when you go to venues, we see like nightlife, restaurants, bars, but I saw a new one pop up called Ghost Kitchens. We all know on the restaurant side, like the trendiest word of spring and summer. Talk to us about Ghost Kitchens and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when this all hit, it was crazy because what have we gotten so known for? It's bringing people together. It's bringing whole people together, creating moments every night, and then all of a sudden you're told that's the exact opposite of what you could be doing.
I know.
So it was a wild experience, and so what we did is we said, look, for however long this goes on, we're gonna have to bring that experience to people's homes. And I think a lot of smart operators saw that as well. And the only way to really do it at a large scale is you have to, execute these brands out of several kitchens around the city or state or however far you want to be, because you need to rely on delivery from delivery services, and they have radius clauses and stuff. And so, you do, for us, we're operating them out of a combo of kitchens we already own, as well as ghost kitchens, which are just kitchens set up purely commercial kitchens, purely for your concept. And you usually have 2 or 3 food concepts that come out of it. So for us, we created, as I was saying earlier, 7 concepts. And what we're doing is we've taken it a step further with going super elevated on the packaging and the brand and the logo and kind of everything that we do, the marketing itself, so that people really feel we're bringing a heightened experience to their home.
Yeah, heightened experience to your home. That's interesting. We got a question from the audience. Tom, I see you. So what do you, for hotels, Do you think like a post-COVID world, like all hotels are gonna have to be doing takeout? Like it's just the new normal, like a hotel must offer takeout?
Post
Like, is
COVID,
that here to stay, basically? The whole grab and go takeout for the F&B in hotels.
I think it's gonna have to be part of the overall. I think it's gonna have to be strongly considered, and it's gonna be here for a while. Do I
Hmm.
think it is the new norm? I am not in that bucket. I do not think
Yeah.
it's the new norm. I think people will come back to the quote unquote normal way of hotel experiences, but
Hmm.
for a while we're gonna be in this.
Yes. I mean, what do you, I'm kind of thinking end of 2021 to kind of be back to normal, but this new normal. What do you think?
You mean like people's mindset and psyche?
Yeah, they like, I want to travel, I want to go socialize, I want to go to a nightclub.
Yeah, I think it's a full, in my opinion, for sure. Everyone, people, from what I've witnessed and seen, because we reopened for 3 weeks before we got shut down, and I've never seen such demand of people want to just be out and normal again. And I think that it'll be about 12 months of
Yeah.
just for people's own mindset to really get past this and for as long as it takes, it's fine. But we are in this for a little while. But I do believe it coming back.
Yes, I agree that like I was telling you before, some true colors came out and people were like, I'm done with hotels. No one's ever going to stay in a hotel again. And I'm like, okay, well, you're very Nancy. But I
Well,
agree
they
with
can go. They can leave our
you.
industry.
Leave. We don't need you. But it kind of goes back to what you were saying before about the entrepreneurial mindset. I know I have it. I know so many people, especially on the boutique side, have it. There's purpose, there's meaning. To end on today's session, I want to hear about, let's talk about expansion plans because that makes people so happy to hear about this optimism.
Yeah.
Where do you see HWood Group in like 2 years?
Well, a big focus for us is our own hotel. We've been working very hard on finding our own. So and we're on the hunt on a couple. So that's a big one for us. We are expanding heavily into Las Vegas. We have an amazing partnership with the Wynn. So Delilah will open there in 2021. And then
Awesome.
we are working on a couple of other of our brands there as well. So I think that's a big thing. To me, that takes a much bigger stab at a global, recognition, especially when you're between Vegas and LA.
Mhm.
And then we have East Coast expansion plans, Miami and New York, within those next 2 years. So
I love it.
those are some key imminent expansion plans.
Yay, see people. People are still developing. They have long-term plans. It's not the end of the world. We're going to get through this. Okay, don't kill me, but I forgot to ask a question that like I really wanted to get answered, which was with the nice guy, with Delilah, like they've been around for a while. I've gone to them a million times. I love them. Can you talk to us like how do you keep the sense of exclusivity and like kind of like FOMO with
Mhm.
those outlets? So I really wanted to ask that and I forgot. So I'm sorry.
Uh, so I touched on that earlier in the sense of that you did not never set out to create those brands to be exclusive in an annoying or pretentious way, and they still are
Mm,
not set up like that. The idea was that I wanted to elevate the dining experience to give more to the guest. Because so as you're talking about boutiques and being able to give more, and the way to do that is to really know each guest. And so the idea was set around, you have a Rolodex of friends and friends of friends, and they keep getting added when you're where they're the ones on the Rolodex to get their reservation. And so from them, it's just from that it stemmed to be this exclusive nature in that regard. But it's really just related to us knowing, I know everything about what 90% of our guests want to eat, drink, what their, when their anniversary is, what they're celebrating, what they're commiserating. And that
mm,
is what that Nice Guy was founded on in Delilah, and it still is. And I always say the secret to those is that it stems outside of those four walls. It's the relationships that we give between myself, my partner, the people that work for us. We are in and out of so many of those guests' lives outside of when they're physically in those places, that it creates for such a special environment when you're there.
So you're a hands-on owner,
Very.
right?
Some would say too hands-on, some of my team, but very hands-on.
Yes, agreed. And I know the hoteliers out there, I know you guys do the same things. I hear all about it. Well, John, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. To our audience, we just have a few last minute reminders I just wanted to go through. One, use the hashtag Boutique Strong. We are a community. We are strong. We're getting through this. We're continuing to innovate. We have some fun new campaigns going out with Boutique Strong, so please use it. Think about getting involved, come to our summit, maybe become a member if you can, and also keep in touch. My dad said don't say this, but I really like saying it. If you just want to say hello in the subject line to info@blla.org, I would love that. So info@blla.org is our email. Our website is www.blla.org, and even call us. I mean, let's go old school, 818-883-4363. We love connecting with people. Like John said, it's about relationships. I know that. And also next week, we'll be with Michael Greco, the owner of FIA, which is an amazing restaurant out in Santa Monica. So last minute, bye everyone. Have a great Friday. Thank you, John. And I don't know, have a glass of wine on me. Bye everyone.
Bye.